Berachot Perek Vav, Mishnah Zayin. We'll continue our learning before Rav Daniel ben Miriam Chaya Root. You should have a refuah shlema. Okay, the beginning of the Mishnah is going to discuss a somewhat unusual case, and then turn it into a rule that's so common that we deal with it every single day. Says the Mishnah, Haviu lo maliach batchila upatimo. Let's say they brought up something maliach from the word melach, very salty, with bread with it. Mevarech ala maliach upoter etapat. Shapat tfeilalo. He makes the bracha on the salty thing, upoter etapat, and he exempts the bread, because the bread is tfeilah, is secondary, is tertiary to the salty thing. So, for example, for whatever reason, you wanted to eat something very salty piece of fish or herring or what have you, but it's so salty you can't eat it by itself. So you put a little cracker, a little piece of bread. So in this case, the bread is tafel, is secondary to the salty food itself. Now, there's the only other example I can think of. Sometimes you're at the carving station where they give a little roast beef, but you can't hold the roast beef without nothing. So they give you like a little slice of bread on the bottom. You're holding the roast beef. The only reason you're eating the bread is that you can put the bread in your mouth without like touching the slimy roast beef with your fingers. Now, there are other issues about eating at these carving stations at smorgasbords, but in this case, some would suggest that the bread is tafel, is secondary to the roast beef. So in this case, in that case, in theory, I won't say in practice, but in theory, you'd make a bracha on the roast beef, and you wouldn't make a bracha on the bread. Now, in practice, in that case, I would suggest that a person go wash, be kovea seuda, sit down and eat a kazayit of bread at a normal table like a normal human being, and then go have your roast beef. You go collect your roast beef and sit down instead of snarfing it down while you're standing around the carving table. But that's another issue entirely. But the Mishnah says from this we derive a rule. Zeh haklal. This is the rule. Kol shehu ikkar v'imot tfeilah. If you have an ikkar, a main food, and with it a tfeilah food, mevarech al ha'ikar upoter tfeilah. Then you make only a bracha on the ikkar, on the main food, and you exempt the tafel. Now remember, we're not talking about bread. Bread is a specific rule where you're kovea seuda. Then you're yotze. You don't have to do anything else. Then that's for the whole meal. Here is a case where you have two foods, and you want to eat one food and together with another food. So you mevarech ala ikar, you make the bracha on the main food, and you exempt the tafel. This opens an entire can of worms, or not a can of worms literally, but a whole area of halacha that deals with this issue of ikar and tafel. Let's look at Pnei Halacha of Melamed. He talks, there's a whole section of ikar and tafel. And he starts with our Mishnah. Amru Chachamim, the rabbi said, Zeh klal, this is the rule. Kol she'ikar v'imot tfeilah, mevarech ala ikar u'peter tfeilah. Okay? He says, the mashal ledavar domer, what can this be compared to? L'adam shekibel mechaviro matana aruza b'niyar yafeh. A person got a nice present in paper. Ra'ui lo shiodeh la matana. You say thank you for the present. Ubichlal lo uda la matana, k'lo uda la tifata ana'a. You say, oh, thank you very much for the thing. You don't have to also say, and such beautiful wrapping paper as well. So therefore, im yodeh la haniyar bifnei atzmo, if he says thank you for the paper, Yivate bekach shelo hivin be'etzem mahi matana. O she'ena chashuva be'enav. It keeps going on. The wrapping paper is unbelievable. Yes, but there's an iPhone inside. No, the wrapping paper. That's a little inappropriate. Kamoke says, similarly, ochel ma'achal ikari she'eshimo ma'achal she'tafel lo. If you eat a main food that has a tafel to it, tiknu chachamim sivarech ala ma'achal ikari. You make the bracha on the main. V'yiftor bekach et ma'achal hatafel lo. But the trick is like this. How do you know what the main and what the secondary is? So he says, let's say you have a case of fish, ptitim, and potatoes. And each one of those foods on the plate is a main food. So in that case, you would make the bracha on the main food. But let's say, for example, you add ptitim. Ptitim is very big in Israel. It's like noodles, okay? And on the side, you added ketchup, or you added charif, or you added matbucha. This is so Israeli, okay? So you have ptitim, and then you added a salad for taste on the side. Now, even though the salad for taste, or the salat chatzilim, that's eggplant salad, very popular here as well. You added it for taste, but it's made from chatzilim and ta'adama. Nonetheless, it's only there to add for taste. Now, of course, this brings a whole series of questions, of secondary questions. What's considered add for taste? What's not considered add for taste? What if I ate Cheerios and added bananas in it in order to make it sweeter? What if I ate Raisin Bran? What if I have salad but only added olives, small pieces of olives that are Berei Priya Eitz? That's why you have rabbis, so you can ask questions when do we impose the rule of kol she'ikar v'imot tefillah, mevarech ala ikar u'preter ta tefillah? In general, if you think each fruit has significance and has importance, then you make the bracha on both of them. But for example, if you had, let's say you made rice with raisins in it, the raisins are there to make the rice tastier. In that case, you wouldn't separate. But if you have like raisin bran, so the raisin bran isn't there to make the bran tastier. It's raisin bran. It's part of the cereal itself. In that case, probably, I think most rabbis would say you should make the bracha on the raisins separately and on the bran separately. Bran, then raisins. Chita, remember the order. Bran, eretz chita, seorah, gefen, teina. Right? You make the order of the Shivat HaMinim, make the bracha on the bran, then on the raisins. There's many more deals you can go in, but we're only learning Mishnah. So, we'll conclude here. If you have any comments or questions, feel free, rspolter@gmail.com, and have a great day.